Eddie Johnson has officially retired effective immediately. When the mayor fired him on Monday, it was from his position as superintendent, demoting Johnson back to lieutenant. That meant his retirement papers had to be resubmitted. Today, Johnson did that, and tonight he is no longer on the force, but there are still concerns about transparency in this investigation. The night of October 16th, Eddie Johnson was seen on video drinking 3 rum and cokes at the Ceres Cafe with Cynthia Donald, a member of his security detail who he is seen kissing. Hours later, Johnson was found asleep behind the wheel of his unmarked SUV near his Bridgeport home. When approached by 2 police officers, Johnson showed them his police ID, said he was fine, and drove home, the entire exchange lasting about a minute.
I believe that there was a concerted effort within the department to protect Eddie Johnson, to help get him to the finish line with as much dignity as possible.
Inspector General will do his investigation and make his findings known. If there was such a thing, then we'll deal with it at the appropriate time. But right now, I don't have any evidence of such.
Johnson announced his retirement last month, but was fired Monday for lying to the mayor about that night. Should the mayor release all of the IG's report and all of the videos when this investigation is done?
Absolutely. I believe I'm a strong believer of that. I am Mr. Transparency.
I think the mayor has been consistent on wanting to put the information out, and I think that what you'll see is she may make a decision to let all that stuff out.
But the Inspector General is still conducting his investigation. At least 8 officers have been interviewed, including Cynthia Donald, but Eddie Johnson has not been questioned. Do you have concern that this is going to hurt morale in CBD?
I don't know. I think a lot of people like Eddie. I think there's going to be a lot of changes. I just hope that it don't.
At this point, it appears the Inspector General may not release his summary report on this case until April, and there are questions tonight about just what Mayor Lightfoot will be able to release under the law. There may be some restrictions that will not put everything out there like some people would like to.
Interesting past 20 minutes in our newsroom. We're about to tell you about Eddie Johnson tonight, who was still on the police payroll despite being fired by the mayor 2 days ago.
But moments ago, we got word that the former police superintendent just retired. Let's go right to CBS 2 political investigator Dana Kozlov. She's in the newsroom to sort it all out. Dana.
And sorting it out quickly, Brad and Erica. Now, we learned of Johnson's official retirement just minutes ago from a statement released by Mayor Lori Lightfoot's office. We're still waiting to confirm that with Eddie Johnson's attorney. It means he's now officially off the Chicago Police Department payroll. Now, this afternoon, Johnson's attorney, Thomas Needham, told me Johnson would submit his retirement papers as soon as he was assured there would be no gaps in his health insurance coverage. Johnson was still getting paid despite being fired as superintendent, according to police department policy. That termination from the exempt superintendent position reverted him back to his last civil service ranking, which was lieutenant. So Johnson is officially retiring, as we understand it, as a lieutenant at lieutenant's pay. Now, Mayor Lori Lightfoot fired him from the top spot because she says he lied to her about the night of October 16th when he was found slumped over or sleeping in his police department issued vehicle. The Inspector General investigation into the matter and other officer involvement is ongoing. According to Johnson's attorney, he has not been interviewed by the Inspector General, but only because they couldn't agree on a date for the meeting. Thomas Needham says he tossed out December 6th and 13th as possible days to sit down and talk, but an IG employee told him the investigation would likely be completed by then. In the newsroom, Dana Kozlov, CBS 2 News. Brad.
We also now know more about what responding officers saw when they found Johnson asleep in his city-owned vehicle.
Person slumped over the wheel, 34th place in Aberdeen and 34th place. Caller said there's a person asleep at the stop sign in a black Chevy Tahoe.
When officers responded after midnight, they were wearing body cameras. A source who has seen the video says it shows them walking up to the unmarked vehicle, its engine running. They observed a man inside with his head back against a headrest, asleep. After knocking on the window, the man woke up and lowered his window. The body cam video shows the officers asking for identification, apparently not realizing it was the city's top cop behind the wheel. Our source says Johnson then shows the officers his wallet, which included his police credentials, visible. They asked him if he needed help. The superintendent said no. The officers stepped back and Johnson drove off. The entire encounter, we're told, lasted less than 2 minutes.
I ordered the Bureau of Internal Affairs to conduct an internal investigation, just to be transparent.
The superintendent's plan to keep the investigation in-house didn't last long. The city's inspector general quickly took over. Several key police officials were interviewed in the weeks that followed, including the police spokesperson, who put out the public statement saying Johnson showed no signs of impairment. The spokesperson told investigators he was simply relaying what the superintendent told him. And then there's the Loop Bar, where Johnson was reportedly drinking earlier that day with a female police officer who until early November had been Johnson's driver. A source tells WGN Investigates the woman went on medical leave shortly after the October incident. The Tribune says the inspector general has obtained video of the two there drinking for several hours. The IG can also access GPS data from Johnson's city-owned Chevy Tahoe to track his movements.
Obviously, the investigation of Eddie Johnson wasn't just about him. It involved the conduct of other people, and that investigation is ongoing, so we're not going to do anything that would compromise the IG's work.
In a statement yesterday, Johnson admitted making mistakes, but insists he did not lie to the mayor or to the public. As for the Inspector General's report, we're told investigators are still gathering information and interviews. It could be several weeks before it's finished.